Hey yo, what's up YouTube? This is SK13. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be taking you guys along my morning commute and we're going to talk about something different. It's going to be about the top 5 things that I hate about the MT03. Now hate might be a strong word, but stay tuned to find out the top 5 things. For those of you that are new to the channel, I'm a beginner rider with very minimal experience riding. I've only been riding for about, let's say, maybe 6 months now. And so all of my videos are from that perspective, from the beginner's rider perspective. So if you're a beginner rider or you're just interested in knowing, what a beginner rider might be thinking or what their thought process is, my videos are based around that. So make sure to stay till the end for my number 1 gripe or most hated thing about the MT03. Anywho, let's get on with the show with number 5. So number 5, starting this list off, would definitely have to be the brakes. So I had the opportunity to sit on a Duke 390. It's another entry-level or beginner motorcycle that a lot of people cross-shop for their first bike. And the brakes on that just felt so different. The Duke had an immediate bite, whereas the MT03, you really have to squeeze to feel the brakes kicking in. It's kind of a bland feeling, to be honest. And not much feedback is provided to the rider, and I was having a really hard time trying to figure out how to describe the difference. Maybe the MT03 kind of has more of like a cardboard feeling. I guess that's a good way to describe it. Yeah, let's go with that. Don't get me wrong, I mean, the brakes are still adequate. They stop you just fine, but definitely don't provide as much stopping power as, compared to some of the other competition within its class. Next up on this list, at number 4, will have to be the dash. The info that the dash itself provides is great. Everything is clear, and the information that you actually want and need is there. The reason why I hate it or dislike it is because on my commute back home, the sun is behind me and it hits the dash screen perfectly. Like, the angle it's hitting at is perfect to the point that I can't see a damn thing on it. Would it be different, if it had like a TFT dash? I have no idea. But if you have a bike with a TFT dash, comment down below and let me know if you've ever run into this issue before. Just because I literally can't see anything on the dash when I'm riding home from work. The sun's just hitting it perfectly. Can't see how fast I'm going. Can't see what gear I'm in. And that could be an issue, but luckily, I'm on the freeway. I can just go with the flow of traffic, so not a huge deal. And it's something you can kind of get used to, but it's still kind of a negative, still something I kind of dislike about this bike. Alright, hold up guys, we're coming up to my absolute favorite turn. Would you look at all this traffic? Where did everyone come from? You know, like a couple months ago, it wasn't this bad. But this is one of the few, or not few, this is one of the many reasons why I love having my motorcycle on my commute to work, because you just zip through all these folks, skip all the lines, skip all the traffic. Anyways, getting back on track. What number were we at, guys? Right, I think number 3. So my number 3 on this list would be the torque. I just wish it had a little bit more. Really, you know, thought it was going to be like the other MT bikes that Yamaha makes, like the MT07, MT09. Really known as torque monsters, right? And so with the MT line, MT stands for Master of Torque. I thought the MT03 would have a little bit more than, you know, what it has today. Kind of similar to, you know, like the R1 and MT10 have the same engine, but the MT10 is more torquey and more in tune with, you know, quote unquote the hyper naked category. The MT03 can often feel like a literal, more upright version of the R3. Quite literally. There is no torque difference. It's exactly the same between the two bikes. And I think that's a shame, and I think that's a missed opportunity. And it wasn't really what I was expecting, but regardless, it's still a fun bike to ride. I just wish it had a little bit more torque. And that's why it's number 3 on this list for top 5 things that I hate. We're almost at the end, guys. Number 2 on this list is the seat. So it starts to feel a little budget after riding for about an hour straight with just flat freeway riding. And the freeways here are pretty good. I mean, of course they're bumpy, but not like, you know, really terrible roads or with potholes or anything like that. Nothing like that. But it can get bumpy, and after about an hour of riding, it does start to really hurt your behind. Luckily for me, you know, I'm not riding that long, you know, frequently, so it hasn't been too big of an issue for me. My commute is about like 30 minutes there and back, and so, or not there and back, I guess 30 minutes each way. And I think, you know, at the 30-minute time point, it's adequate, it's comfortable, but when I'm doing my longer rides, it just feels terrible. And that's when, you know, this bike is a cheap bike, and that's an area where it really shows. But there are quite a few aftermarket options available in terms of the seat. You can always swap it out for a more comfortable seat, something that provides a little bit more cushion. But yeah, budget seat really starts to show at those longer time points. So if you're going to be taking it for, you know, more longer trips, doing some more, you know, coast to coast riding or whatever it may be, definitely look into getting a different seat if that's something you want to use this bike for. Finally, we're at number 1. My most hated thing about this bike is definitely 100% throttle tube. This is by far my number 1 gripe with this bike. The throw from fully closed to fully open throttle is incredibly long, like wrist-breaking long. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I've been doing a lot of highway riding and highway commuting on this bike these days, and it can get tiring with a long throw. With this being a 300cc bike, when going on highway speeds, you're up there in 6th gear and high in the rev range, aka wide open throttle. So your wrist can start to hurt sometimes in those situations. I get why Yamaha made it that way. It's a very beginner friendly bike, and as we're still learning throttle control, but you have to ask yourself, is that something you're setting yourself up for failure down the road when you potentially get a more powerful bike and it has a shorter throttle tube? That topic or issue definitely has its pros and cons and various different philosophies, if you want to call it that, behind it. But what are your thoughts on it? Is learning with this long tube or throttle tube setting yourself up for failure or not? Let me know down in the comments below. And that wraps up my top 5 most hated things about the MT03. I mean, as you can tell, hate is a strong word. I would say more appropriately, dislike is a better one. This bike, the MT03, is still an amazing bike. It's, I have a lot of fun with it. And I would have to say it might just be the best beginner bike available on the market right now. So that's it for the list today. Stay tuned for more videos like this on the MT03. If you're interested, you like what you saw, please drop a like, comment down below any questions you have, any comments, and make sure to subscribe for more Yamaha MT03 content and beginner motorcycles content. I will be making a top 5 things that I love about this bike, which should be a lot easier of a topic or video to make. Anyhow, thanks for tuning in, guys. Catch you on the next one. Peace.